The woman ordering her latte was being followed. Julia Martinez noticed it immediately. The way the customer kept glancing at the door, how her hands shook slightly, the man lingering outside pretending to check his phone, but watching through the window. Most baristas would have made the coffee and moved on. But before Julia had spent 4 years making lattes at Riverside Coffee in Austin, Texas, she'd spent 12 years as a victim advocacy specialist with the FBI, working domestic violence cases and witness protection programs. She'd been trained to recognize stalking behavior, identify victims in distress, and intervene in situations where seconds mattered. The trembling woman at her counter had maybe minutes before the man outside made his move. Julia had a choice: make the coffee and hope for the best, or use skills she'd hoped never to need again in her quiet civilian life. Welcome to Life Stories Archive, where the person making your morning coffee might be watching out for more than just your order. Julia Martinez, 42, had worked at Riverside Coffee since 2019. The shop sat on South Congress Avenue, serving the steady stream of locals, tourists, and university students that kept Austin's coffee culture thriving. She was known for remembering regular customers' orders, for latte art that actually looked like what it was supposed to, and for the kind of warm professionalism that made people feel welcome without being intrusive. Her background check had shown federal government service 2005 to 2017, and she'd mentioned being ready for a slower pace when she interviewed. The manager, impressed by her maturity and people skills, hired her without asking specifics about her government work. What he didn't know was that FBI victim specialist Julia Martinez had worked hundreds of domestic violence cases, coordinated witness relocations, and been trained to identify danger signs that most people missed, the subtle behavioral cues that meant someone was in immediate danger. Wednesday morning, 9:15 a.m. The coffee shop was moderately busy. Morning rush tapering off. A few people working on laptops. Typical midweek atmosphere. The woman who entered looked about 30, business casual attire, trying to appear normal. But Julia saw what others didn't. The way she scanned the room before choosing a seat with clear visibility of all exits. The phone she kept checking with increasing anxiety. The controlled breathing of someone trying not to panic. "What can I get you?" Julia asked warmly. "Just a medium latte. To go." The woman's voice was steady, but her hands betrayed her stress. Julia began making the drink, keeping the customer in her peripheral vision. That's when she noticed the man outside, mid-30s, athletic build, wearing sunglasses despite overcast weather, positioned where he could watch the coffee shop entrance while maintaining deniability. The woman noticed him too. Her face went pale. "Actually," the woman said quickly, "can I use your restroom?" "Of course. It's in the back." Julia pointed, watching the woman hurry toward the rear of the shop. The man outside immediately moved, heading for the entrance. Julia made a split-second decision based on 12 years of reading these exact situations. She moved to intercept the man at the door. "Sorry, sir. We're actually about to close for a private event." The lie came smoothly, professionally. "I just need to use the bathroom," he said, trying to push past. Julia stood her ground, smile fixed, but body language creating a barrier. "The facilities are for customers only. Can I get you a coffee first?" His eyes scanned the shop, looking for the woman. "I'm meeting someone." "Great. What's their name? I'll let them know you're here." He hesitated, recognizing he couldn't answer without revealing he was following someone. "You know what? Never mind." But he didn't leave. He stepped back outside, phone to his ear, still watching. Julia moved quickly to the back, where the woman was hiding in the restroom. She knocked gently. "Ma'am, it's the barista. I need you to know. I see what's happening. I used to work with the FBI helping people in situations like this. Can I help?" The door opened slightly. The woman's eyes were filled with tears. "He's my ex. There's a restraining order, but he won't stop. He found me at my new job yesterday. I thought I could get coffee before work, but he must have followed me." Julia's training kicked in completely. "How long has the restraining order been active?" 3 weeks. I moved apartments, changed my number, but he keeps finding me." "Is your car here?" 2 blocks away. I was afraid to park close." Julia assessed the situation. The ex-boyfriend was stalking, violating a protection order, and demonstrating escalating behavior. Exactly the pattern that often preceded violence. "Listen to me carefully," Julia said, her voice calm and authoritative. "I'm going to call 911 and report a restraining order violation in progress. Then I'm going to walk you out the back door to your car. Do not leave this area until I come get you." Julia returned to the counter and made the call, providing specific details: the man's description, his position, the active restraining order, and his current violation of legal restrictions. "Officers are 7 minutes out," the dispatcher said. "Can you keep visual on the suspect?" "Yes, and I have the victim secured in a safe location." Julia's co-worker, Emma, looked confused. "Julia, what's going on?" "That man outside is stalking the woman who ordered the latte. She has a restraining order. Police are coming. If he comes inside, you tell him I went to get supplies and will be right back. Do not let him go to the back area." Emma nodded, suddenly understanding the gravity. Julia returned to the woman. "Police are coming. We're going to wait here until they arrive. Then I'll make sure they have all the information for a proper report." "Why are you helping me? You're just a barista." "I used to be an FBI victim specialist. I've worked hundreds of cases like yours. This is exactly the kind of escalation that we take seriously. You did the right thing by getting to a public place." Austin PD arrived within 8 minutes. 2 officers approached the man outside, who immediately became defensive. He was detained while officers verified the restraining order and documented the violation. Julia provided a detailed witness statement: the woman's visible distress, the man's surveillance behavior, his attempt to follow her into the shop. Her FBI background gave her testimony significant weight. The woman gave her statement with Julia present for support, detailing months of harassment that had escalated despite legal intervention. "Ma'am," the lead officer said to Julia, "your intervention probably prevented this from getting worse. Restraining order violations with this kind of stalking behavior, they escalate. You recognized what was happening and acted. The ex-boyfriend was arrested and charged with violating the protection order and stalking. The additional charges would strengthen the woman's case for extended legal protection." Before leaving, the woman approached Julia. "Thank you. I've been so scared. Nobody else saw what was happening." "Most people don't know what to look for," Julia replied. "But once you're trained to see these patterns, you can't unsee them." The story stayed quiet. No news coverage, no public recognition. Just one woman helped by someone who recognized danger. But word spread through Austin's domestic violence support network. The barista at Riverside Coffee, who'd been FBI victim services. The woman who understood that coffee shops could be safe havens if someone was paying attention. Julia's manager learned her full background and understood why she'd been so perfectly suited to customer service. Reading people was literally what she'd been trained to do. "Why didn't you tell me about your FBI work?" he asked. "Because I wanted to be hired as a barista, not as a former federal employee. I like making coffee. I like the routine. I don't miss the intensity of victim services work." She paused. "But I'm glad I could help when it mattered." Julia Martinez continues making lattes at Riverside Coffee on South Congress. She still remembers regular orders, still creates latte art, still provides the warm service customers appreciate. The difference is that now, staff and regulars know she's watching for more than just empty cups. She's helped 2 other women since then, one experiencing harassment, another showing signs of an abusive relationship. Not dramatically, not publicly. Just quiet interventions using skills that don't expire. The woman she helped that Wednesday morning stopped by a month later. She'd moved again, this time with proper security consultation. The ex-boyfriend was facing serious charges with multiple violations documented. She was rebuilding her life with better protections. "I think about you every time I order coffee now," she told Julia. "About how nobody else saw what was happening. How you just knew." Julia smiled. "Training and experience. Once you learn to recognize the signs, you can't ignore them. Sometimes the most important protection comes from professionals who aren't wearing badges anymore. Sometimes the person making your latte has spent years learning to identify danger before it becomes violence. And sometimes choosing a career change doesn't mean leaving your expertise behind. It means carrying it quietly until someone needs it." Have you ever realized someone in a service job had training that helped someone in crisis? Share their story. Because expertise doesn't retire. It stays ready for moments that matter. If this story reminded you that professionals serve everywhere, subscribe to Life Stories Archive. Every quiet guardian deserves recognition for staying vigilant.